This is the Archangel 2210 here to talk about not a review, not a rant. It's just really a discussion about cancellations and shows that got canceled and shows that shouldn't have gotten canceled. For instance, the one that I'm showing right now, Wolverine and X-Men, which was a really great animated series that should not have gotten canceled. And another show that I'm sure some people would probably disagree with me on this one, Birds of Prey, which was, I already did a review on it, so I'm not gonna do a review of that. But basically, it was a diamond in the rough. If it had better writers and certain things, like I said earlier, um, it could have stood a chance. And also, if it wasn't on a different night other than Smallville, if it was on the same night like they did with Supernatural, because that's, Supernatural's in its 5th season now. If they had Birds of Prey on the same night, and if it was a whole lot better, it could have been. It could have done. The ratings could have been bumped up a little bit, and instead of they had it on its own, just basically swimming in a tank of sharks. So of course it got eaten alive. And you know, with Wolverine and X-Men, I'm really disappointed this got canceled, and I really strongly think that it was the whole thing when Disney bought Marvel, because this was on Nicktoons, and even though that almost kind of came out of left field, and when I heard it on YouTube, I was like, oh wow, that's interesting. Um, at first I was upset, but then I was like, it is a good business deal. It is a good business deal for that happening, you know. But I can understand why some people were upset and everything. But when this got pulled shortly after, I was like, because this was on Nicktoons at the time. This was on Nicktoons, and I'm sure probably when they were in production of this doing this cartoon, because business deals like that where it's a merger in a ways or some sort of negotiation type of business deal, it takes weeks of deliberation and discussion and negotiation whether or not Marvel would have wanted to take the deal. So I'm sure probably when they were doing this cartoon, they were heard whispers of that deal that Marvel was gonna do that or take it or not, and they were like, okay, well, we have this on Nicktoons, we'll just see what happens, we'll play it by ear. So you know, it didn't really pan out so nicely. It got pulled, and Nicktoons actually had another Marvel cartoon series, which was Iron Man Armored Adventures, which I was not crazy about, which was basically a CGI animated series of Iron Man. Wait for it. Um, Him being a teenager, 15 years old, having the Iron Man suit with his friend Pepper Potts and his friend Rhodey. Now, I thought it was a really bad idea to do that. Him having a superhero origin and being a teenager. And I know what some people are probably thinking. Oh, but Smallville does the same thing. He is him being a teenager at 15 years old. No, not exactly, because in Smallville he was not wearing a suit in the very beginning, and he was not calling himself Superman or Superboy in the very beginning. In this cartoon, he was calling himself Iron Man at 15 years old. Now, if they wanted a teenage Iron Man cartoon, what they could have done was they could have had Iron Man have a child with Pepper Potts or Black Widow or Spider Woman or whoever his love interest is. I don't really keep up with his love interest is. Just Pepper Potts, and have it where he has a child and that he becomes the next Iron Man type of thing. That they could have done that if they wanted a teenage Iron Man, but redoing his whole origin to a point where it's not even recognizable as the original character, and I wasn't crazy about the animation, the CGI type of animation. So when that was gone, I was missing that one. But Wolverine and the X-Men, it was a fantastic animated series. I already did a review of it. You can watch the review if you want. I really liked this cartoon. I was really upset when it got canceled. I was upset. I was like, oh man, because I just didn't hear anything about. I didn't even hear that it got canceled. Publicly. I was waiting. Like, okay, where's the next season gonna premiere? And then I'm waiting months and months, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's gonna premiere this day, and then a whole year passes by. I'm thinking, wait a minute, this show never premiered. What happened to it? And then I look online and I say, oh, it never, and they were actually going to do a second season, because it's not like they were just going to do the first one season and that's it. The way it ended and the way they set it up, there was going to be a season two. There was going to be season two. They were setting it up for Age of Apocalypse. They were setting it up for Colossus in the second season. They were setting it up, all these things. There was all these little clues for what was going to happen in the second season, and it's just like the rug got pulled from underneath them. And it's like it's kind of not fair, but hopefully they could bring it back. Maybe on a different channel, I don't know, but hopefully they could bring it back, because, you know, a cartoon getting canceled and coming back, that's, it's not a big deal, because shows like Family Guy, that has come back from the dead like 3 or 4 times. Family Guy, that show has, Family Guy and Futurama. Futurama has been canceled, I think, 8 years? And then they've been showing the repeats on Comedy Central, and then they brought it back from the dead. So a cartoon series that's been gone for even 8 years or so, canceled consistently, it can still come back, because it's just a matter of wrangling up the voice actors and the writers and everything. But a TV show like Birds of Prey, that's long gone. You can't bring that back. That's gone. Unless they, like, redo it in a way and have, like, maybe the actress that plays Black Canary on Smallville and do it differently in that way type of sense, then possibly they could bring Birds of Prey back. Other than that, I don't think they could. Now, uh, now, I really have no problem with Disney buying Marvel. Really, I don't. I have no problem with Disney. I have no problem with their, animated films and everything. Um, they mainly did it to get a demographic that they really needed help with getting. And now they're able to do an animated cartoon series on Disney XD Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Hero. At first, I will be honest, I was not crazy about it with the animation style, and I felt like, oh, this is a little bit childish. It's not as, good. Like, I was being a little biased about it, I'll be honest. But after watching a few episodes and after actually giving it a chance, I'm warming up to it. I'm warming up to the Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes. I'll probably, like, rewind and watch from the very beginning and go forth. Because jumping in, it looks like they're setting up for, like, almost like a Civil War, Secret Invasion type of storyline. And if they do that, that will be incredible if it's done nicely. So I think that's what they're trying to build up to. They're trying to build. I've noticed these subtle clues about, like the Civil War, and even how one line of dialogue that Iron Man and Captain America, they don't always see eye to eye. I was thinking, is that foreshadowing? Is that a reference? It's like, maybe we'll see the Civil War. Who knows? I don't think we will. They had notes about the Kree versus the Skrull, so maybe they'll incorporate that somehow. But I don't think they'll do the full on Civil War storyline, because that's a really big, gritty storyline to do for a cartoon series. Speaking of cartoon series, I've been talking a lot about Marvel. I've been talking a lot about Disney buying Marvel, but let's talk about a DC Universe cartoon series for a little bit that is on right now. Not right this second, but on right now. That's on, and I actually really like it. Young Justice. Young Justice is a really great cartoon. I believe it's on Fridays at 7 on Cartoon Network. Give that a gander. It's really, I really love the animation. I really love the animation, and it's a little bit darker than the Teen Titans cartoon, because the Teen Titans cartoon, it did have a layer of darkness, but it was very cheerful with the anime, the Americanized anime that they had. But with Young Justice, it's a little bit darker, and I really like the Superboy character, but his ongoing wrath, it kind of gets a little annoying after a while. But other than that, I really like, certain things kind of don't make sense, because Young Justice is supposed to be like, and here it's almost like the first time that they're doing this, which kind of isn't really accurate. It's like that team affiliation with those specific characters. That's like the third or fourth incarnation of the type of Teen Titans, and the Robin that they have in that team is the first Robin, Dick Grayson. So I was, the timeline is a little confusing because technically, if it Robin meeting Superboy, it should really be the Tim Drake Robin, but I'm not gonna nitpick. They whenever they have Robin in the cartoon, they always go for the Dick Grayson Robin because I guess he's probably the fan favorite. So, they always go for that one. Um, all in all, I think the cartoon is awesome. I advise anyone to check it out. Anyone to check it out on Fridays at 7. And Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes, I believe, is on Disney XD Wednesdays at 8:30, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. So check out both cartoons. Tell me what you think, whether you like them, whether you hate them, whether you think they're okay. Just just check them out. Check them out. See what you think. I won't do full reviews of them. Maybe once a season or two gets on DVD, then I probably will. But I'm not gonna do reviews of shows when they're still on TV. I'll wait till it's on DVD. That way I can look at the season as a whole. You know, like I will with. Eventually, I'll do my reviews of Wonder Woman 1, 2, and 3, and Smallville and stuff. Um, I'm just trying to find the time to rewatch it and like do a full, in-depth review. And now with Disney, um, I am a fan of Disney. I admit that I am a fan of Disney. I like animated Disney films. Um, they shouldn't make it so light-hearted though. They should, put a little bit, make it a little bit darker, because the audience grew up a little bit. Like I was watching Tangled, and the whole time I was watching it, it was a great film. It was a wonderful. It was musical, enchanting. I thought it was a great film. You know, that's not my full review, but I probably want to get on DVD. But whole time I was watching it, I felt like this is almost like an unofficial sequel to Enchanted, because whenever I was watching the film, I felt like the character Rapunzel reminded me a lot of Giselle. I don't know if they did it on purpose or it was just a happy accident, but all that, it just kind of reminded me of that and almost felt like a sequel to it. So even with the title, it almost sounds similar. It almost looks similar, Tangled, Enchanted, and it almost seems like it's connected in some way, but it's not. Um, I know I'm kind of rambling. Because this is just a vlog. I'm really just talking about a whole bunch of stuff that's on my mind, and I tend to go a mile a minute. So I'm just gonna wrap it up because I'm sure a bunch of you are probably already bored if you're still listening at this point. So just want to say, comment below. Watch those two cartoons I already said before. Young Justice and Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and leave a comment on what you think of those cartoons if you've seen them. So comment and subscribe. See you later.